God Eternal Kefnet versus Skithiryx the Blight Dragon. Yeah, this should be fun against Infect. Let's keep that. We have plenty of mana. We can get into a Trinket Mage. This will probably just grab us a Sol Ring. We can't get a Sensei's Top with this in 1 versus 1. Yeah, it's just an island on turn 1. There's nothing else for us to do. And in quite a few mono black decks, it's just ramp into your commander, especially with something like, what is he called? Grizzlebrand. Do we want to go for Sapphire Medallion? Yeah, I think that's the best bet. Then we can get down our commander for 3 mana next turn. But they didn't make a second land drop. They're on their turn 3 now, and they've just passed again. That is a very strange hand they've kept, if that's all they had going. Let's go for our commander, and if they blow it up, I think I'll just put it into our library, actually. Okay, they get their 3rd piece of mana. And then they can go for a Grim Tutor, yeah. So they were just hoping for a Tutor. Yeah, so the reason they kept that hand is to get into a Tutor. Seems to be what a lot of 1 versus 1 magic is nowadays, is using a hell of a lot of tutors to sculpt your hand as best you can. Okay, we reveal an Impulse. We will reveal and copy that. And we get a copy of that for a blue mana. The original Impulse will only cost a blue mana anyway. Put a card into your hand. Oh, I really like that Mystic Confluence, but we have to go for Counterspell here, I think. So let's just go like that. And the rest of them go in any order. Yeah, we'll get down a Reliquary Tower. We don't know what they tutored for, so they might have gone for a Mana Crypt, in which case we'll be seeing Skittles next turn. Haven't been over that commander, actually. That is a 5 mana Flying Dragon, a 4/4 with Infect. You can pay black to give it haste, and 2 black to regenerate it. God Eternal Kefnet is a 4/5 Flying Zombie God for 4 mana. You may reveal the first card you draw on each turn as you draw it. Whenever you reveal an instant or sorcery this way, you can cast a copy of it for 2 generic less mana. Okay, that introduces Infect to the board. We can go for Curse of the Swine to get rid of that. And we can also chump it with a Trinket Mage, so I think we let that enter the battlefield. Yeah, I think a copy of Cyclonic Rift is okay, actually. We'll bounce back the Chrome Mox because they'll have to exile another card from their hand to replay that. Then we could really mess them up with a Wasteland onto Urborg. But I'm not going to do that. Let's just go Trinket Mage. And we'll grab ourselves a Sol Ring. And it's Academy Ruins into the Sol Ring. And that goes into Scroll Rack. I'm just going to hope that our opponent doesn't get down Blight Steel. I doubt they can give it haste even if they do get down their Blight Steel. And if they do get it down, we can Curse of the Swine anyway, so I'm not too worried about our opponent getting anything going here. Well, the Chrome Mox is coming down again. Let's see what they exile with it. This time it's a Whispering Spectre. And I will definitely trade the Eco-Rats with our Trinket Mage. So we're still only at 1 Infect. And there's a Necropotence. That is something I'd like to counter, but at least this gives our opponent a chance to get back into this game. 4 life gone into Necropotence, which means our opponent goes up to 8 cards. They'll have to discard and therefore exile a card. And that card is just going to be a basic swamp. Now let's go for an Impulse. Oh, and there's that Mystic Confluence again. And our opponent scoops, that's a shame. Okay, so we take the Mystic Confluence, and those islands end up on the bottom, and then maybe we would have drawn into another island. Yeah, so who knows. 3 cards off the Mystic Confluence is 3 more islands, fancy that. And yeah, Perhaps our opponent shouldn't have scooped there because we were not drawing into much, but such is Magic Online. I don't know if I'm going to put another gameplay video after this. I suspect I will, so let's get on with the next one. God Eternal Kefnet versus the Mimeoplasm. Now that's a turn 1 Power Stone. Our opponent should not scoop because we don't have any other cards in hand really. But let's place our bets. Do you think they're going to scoop to Mana Crypt and 1 Power Stone on turn 1? Well, if you thought they were going to quit on turn 1, then you were wrong. They went for Jiraga Tree Speaker. I have to admit, I thought they were going to quit to that. So I was wrong as well. Let's go in for winning the flip with Tails. Of course it's another island. Let's go for our commander here. And it might be, if we're fast enough, we can have God Eternal Kefnet, get our opponent for lethal with commander damage. That's a 4/5 flyer. For 4 mana, we may reveal the first card we draw on each turn as we draw it. If we reveal an instant or sorcery, then we copy it, and we can cast the copy for 2 generic less. We will reveal that Fabricate. It's only going to cost us a blue mana to cast this. And I think we might go in for the Shackles. I think the Shackles is the best thing to go for here. So we play those, and then we can steal... What is this thing? Okay, it looks like they're going for Elf Tribal. Let's just steal the Jiraga Tree Speaker, so that's less mana for them next turn. And then we go in at them with God Eternal Kefnet, and hope that we can reveal something good to copy next turn. Worst case scenario, we just go for something with Fabricate. But the best thing to go for with Fabricate is the Vedalken Shackles, really. This thing steals a creature from our opponent, but its power has to be equal to or less than the number of islands we control. And the Elvish Archdruid is definitely proof that this is Elf Tribal. Okay, we're not going to untap the Vedalken Shackles. An Ancestral Vision. How does this work? Because it's CMC is 0, but it has a suspend cost. Let's copy that and see how that works. Do we just draw 3 cards here? No, it's telling us to pay. So does that actually get suspended because it's a copy? I don't think it did, you know. Well, apparently copied cards can't be suspended, so I've learnt something. Let's go Ancestral Vision. Into our Fabricate. And we might as well go for a Gilded Lotus here because we can cast that. And then our opponent might worry about counter magic, so we'll just go in at them again. Might have to add something else to the deck to grab with Fabricate, because after we've got the Vedalken Shackles, there's not really anything other than Mana Rocks to grab with it. Might be worth adding a Blightsteel Colossus to the deck, because I've never run that card before. Oh, and a Duplicant. That will... What will that get rid of? We can recast our God Eternal Kefnet. Yep, they're going after the God Eternal. Will not put that... Yeah, that can go into our command zone because we can recast that straight away. And I imagine we're just going to draw into another land. And on top of our opponent's library is a Manamo. See, the problem we have here is the Elvish Archdruid taps for 2 mana, as does the Jiraga Tree Speaker, so right now it's not really worth us taking the Lord with the Vedalken Shackles. So we'll just not untap that. And it is just more mana, so let's get down our God Eternal Oketra. And I want to hold on to the Snapcaster Mage because I'm hoping that we'll be able to get a good fact or fiction going with that. But we're not having too much luck so far. And this is the problem when you get into a fast start. You can dump your hand onto the board and have a lot of mana, but you won't necessarily have anything to do if you don't draw into anything. Sakashima the Imposter comes down as a duplicant, so that will no doubt go for God Eternal Kefnet again. Now, does that come down as a copy of any creature? Yeah, so us stealing the duplicant away from our opponent doesn't really do anything. But if we take the Sakashima the Imposter away from our opponent, they can't activate that ability, can they? I don't think so, because they won't have control of it, so it might be worth taking that away from our opponent, because they can keep bouncing this back to their hand and exiling stuff. Oh, an Akurian Ranger, that is definitely not something we want to see against Elves, because that means that they can generate a hell of a lot of mana with this thing, return a forest you control to its owner's hand to untap a creature, which will no doubt be the Elvish Archdruid in this case. Yeah, we're between a rock and a hard place unless we start drawing into stuff here. They can generate card advantage with this. They just have a Lotus Cobra on top, so as good a mana generator as that is, it's not an elf for them. Yeah, so we've got a few things to go for here. Oh, they're attacking in. That's actually quite good. That means that we can kill off the Jiraga Tree Speaker, so they won't gain that back when we untap the Vidalcan Shackles. And then we'll just have to take the Sakashima's Imposter, I think. Mystical Tutor. Okay. How much is Kefnet now? That's 8 mana already. Yeah, so let's go after Sakashima the Imposter. I'm pretty sure our opponent can't activate that ability when they don't have control over the creature. We're getting to the point now where we'll have to bury her into the library, third from the top. Mystical Tutor can go for some card advantage though, which we'll copy with God Eternal Kefnet at the beginning of our turn, if she sticks around, that is. Revealing a Wood Elf, so that will go into our opponent's hand. They're getting some good card advantage from this. I haven't seen anyone run this in an elf deck before. Wood Elves will get them into a forest, and it will net them even more mana off of the Elvish Archdruid. And then on tapping the Elvish Archdruid to go for even more mana, that taps for green per elf our opponent controls. Okay, there's a Vorinclex. Let's go for Mystical Tutor before then, so that we don't have a land freeze on us. And then we can't draw into any cards, unfortunately. What's the best thing to go for here? We could go for Rite of Replication and make a copy of the duplicant and get rid of the Vorinclex for 2 mana. I think that's alright. I typically like to go for a Fact or Fiction because I really like a 2 mana Fact or Fiction, but we just have to play to our outs here. Really don't want to play against a Vorinclex, so the sooner we can get rid of that, the better it is for us. Oh, and they scooped to that. That's a shame. And the game has just quit out on me immediately. Well, looking at the board in editing now, what I think I would have done there is gone for a 2 mana Rite of Replication onto the Vorinclex to get us even more mana. And then we could have kicked the real Rite of Replication and gotten ourselves 5 duplicants. That would have exiled everything except the Wood Elves off of our opponent's board. And then we were probably swinging in for lethal the turn after. They obviously weren't too happy with the cards that were in their hand, otherwise they wouldn't have quit. So I think we could have gotten that going, wiping our opponent's board, freezing all of our opponent's lands, doubling up our mana, and then we could even have gone for a Snapcaster Mage onto the Mystical Tutor again and started refilling our hand from there. So probably had that game won. It's just a shame that we didn't get to see it in action. I might play more games with this Kefnet deck, I might not. It's quite a difficult one to get games with because, unfortunately, in 1 vs 1 and in mono blue, counter spells are something that we have to rely on. We can't just wait until we get into our Rite of Replications and big card draw spells and things like that. We do have to rely on counter magic somewhat, so that's unfortunate, but I might keep trying to get games with this, I don't know yet. Hopefully you all enjoyed this game anyway. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.